is just fantastic.
Captain's Log, Subdate 211201.8. On the first day of Meggy Moistmas my whole crew gave to me Jussie Smollett's juicy small bits served with caviar, asparagus and a pint of bitter. It is quite the feast. So to start strong with the month of December, which on my Discord server we call the month of Meggy Moistmas. Yes, it's a thing. I started it. I want to do a short series for this month, going over the goings-on of people that we have covered before on this channel and see what they've done since we've last spoken about them. I'm going to call it Where Are They Now? It was a name given to me by someone else, because I'm really bad with names. It's why I ripped my name off a book. And to start this, we're going to go with Jussie Smollett. I have done a number of videos on him, and within this, I'm going to play some clips from each video explaining why that video even existed. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about what they've done since we last spoke about them. As we're starting with Jussie Smollett, we may as well go right back to the start, which would be on the 22nd of November 2019. Yes, the avatar's going to look different, but I really like the beefier version. Justin was an actor on the TV show called Empire. Justin doesn't work for them anymore because of what happened. So for this we're going to go back to January 22nd, where Justin reports to the police that he received a letter, a rather menacing letter, which was sent to the Fox studio where he at the time was filming Empire, containing within it language that was quite scary, and laced with a powdery substance that investigators believed was crushed up Tylenol. On January 29th, Justin is allegedly attacked near his apartment in Chicago. Two masked assailants poured an unknown chemical substance on him, which was later believed to be bleach, and then wrapped a rope around his neck. He told the police in a follow-up interview that the attackers yelled MAGA country, a reference to Donald Trump's Make America Great Again slogan. On January 30th, the police announced in a tweet they are seeking two persons of interest who were captured on surveillance video near the scene and around the time of the alleged attack. On January 31st, Justin's family released a statement describing the attack as a hate crime, with them being quoted as saying, "In the early hours of Tuesday morning, our beloved son and brother, Justin, was the victim of a violent and unprovoked attack. We want to be clear this was a racial and homophobic hate crime. Justin has told the police everything from the very beginning. His story has never changed, and we are hopeful they will find these men and bring them to justice." On February 1st, Justin released a new statement thanking the fans and reiterating that his account of the attack has remained consistent. On February 2nd, Justin makes his first appearance on stage since the alleged attack, performing at the Troubadour in West Hollywood, with him saying that regardless of what anyone else says, he will only stand for love. On February the 4th, the police release an initial incident report about the alleged attack on Justin, revealing that Justin was apparently reluctant to report the attack, and that when the police arrived at his home to interview him, he was still wearing the rope around his neck. The report states that a 60-year-old friend of Justin called the police on his behalf. On February 13, the police investigators had been tracking the two persons of interest and were aware of who they were for a while. Investigators learned that the two men were returning to Chicago from Nigeria and moved in. The pair were detained at the airport under arrest and taken in for questioning the same day. On February 14th, Justin was re-interviewed by Chicago police investigators. By the evening, the police had confirmed they had obtained search warrants and raided the homes of the two individuals, recovering bleach, shoes, electronics and other items. On February 15th, the police announced they had identified and questioned the two persons of interest captured on a surveillance video. Interesting fact, at this point, the pair had a relationship with Justin Smollett. In an unusual move for an ongoing investigation, police officials who had originally described the two as persons of interest began describing them as potential subjects, but by the evening, the charges were dropped and the two men were released without charge. On February 16th, the police identified the two men they arrested and later released as brothers Olabinjo and Abimbola Osandero. Later on that day, the police wanted to speak to Justin Smollett again, but hit a wall with the attorney, with Justin hitting back at the suggestion he was involved in the incident and it was in fact a hoax. On February 17th, the Osandero brothers alleged the attack on Justin Smollett was fake, and the actor had paid them to help orchestrate and stage the crime. On February 18th, the two brothers, who were interrogated by police investigating the alleged Chicago street attack on Justin, claimed they helped him concoct the assault after he became upset that a letter threatening him did not get enough attention. On February 20th, Justin Smollett was charged with felony disorderly conduct for filing a false report after alleging the stage attack against him in Chicago. By Wednesday, the police had officially classified Smollett as a suspect in an ongoing criminal investigation for filing a false report. On March the 8th, the Cook County State Attorney's Office announced that the previous day, a grand jury indicted the actor on 16 counts of disorderly conduct for filing a false report. On March 26, an emergency hearing at the Cook County courtroom announced that all criminal charges were dropped, with many accusing the DA's office of whitewashing justice. It should also be noted by this point, Jussie Smollett lost his job on Empire. I'm guessing he's not getting that raise now. On June 21st, Cook County judge appoints a special prosecutor to investigate the decision to dismiss all charges. On June 24th, the police released nearly 70 hours of video in connection with the investigation, including body camera footage of the actor with a noose around his neck. I would like to now apologize for playing so much of that video, but that video provides you with so much context. It is vital to understanding what happened afterwards, because there was some, let's say, conflict of interest, and I discussed it in future videos, shorter clips of which I'm now going to play before we get to what Jussie Smollett has been up since all of those videos existed. The police charged Jussie Smollett as a suspect in a criminal investigation for filing a false police report, which is a Class 4 felony, which led, by the way, since this all happened, to people like 50 Cent mocking the living feck out of Jussie Smollett's gay 2-pack comment with a meme. This meme. It's a good meme. On the 21st of February, Jussie Smollett is arrested. And at a press conference, the police superintendent Eddie Johnson said that Smollett took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career, indicating that the actor did it because he was dissatisfied with his salary, which, by the way, led to Donald Trump pouncing on this. Yeah, wow, there's your free publicity. Oh dear, oh dear. Reporters in the US got a copy of the check allegedly paid to Abel Ossendera for the attack. The date on it is the 23rd of January and says, 5-week nutrition workout program, Don't Go. Don't Go is the name of a music video Smollett was planning to shoot, which is why he paid the brothers to get him in shape. On the 20th of March, the Empire creator spoke out about the pain and anger and sadness of frustration he and his cast have gone through over the saga, adding that Empire was made to bring America back together and talk about the atrocities that are happening right now in the street. On the 27th of March, Jussie Smollett's lawyer says the case is closed. And on the 28th, Donald Trump calls the case an embarrassment to the nation. On the 29th, Jussie Smollett is ordered to pay the police overtime. On the 12th of April, the actor is then sued by the city of Chicago because he refused to pay the $130,000 demanded by the Chicago police. And on the 30th of April, well, Empire have no real need for him anymore. In fact, confirmed on the 5th of June because they let him go. All this seemed a bit dead, doesn't it? And then we get to the 12th of February 2020, where Special Prosecutor Dan Webb, who was assigned to investigate how the case was handled, says in a statement he is going to further prosecute Jussie Smollett. What is he facing charges of? 6 counts of lying to the police. This particular special prosecutor was assigned in August to investigate how local prosecutors handled the case, with the special prosecutor adding that his office had obtained sufficient factual evidence to argue that prosecutors were wrong to drop the case last year. The fun thing about that video compared to the first one is it provided additional information for dates, and that's why I included them at the start, for bits we did not know until more information was made publicly available and journalists had the time to sift through it, which added so much additional context. It really did make it more and more understandable that he would lose his job because of essentially a negotiation ploy to weaponize BLM as well for support, to make himself look like a martyr for money. How very original. Now the third video I did was the Halls of Injustice. We don't need to go through that. So instead we're going to skip ahead from the 12th of February 2020, from the 29th of April 2020, all the way to the 16th of June 2020. So yes, from then to now, it's been quite some time since we last spoke about Jussie Smollett. So here's the context. Originally, and rather peculiarly, nothing really happened to Jussie Smollett, beyond him getting the state's attorney's office to agree to drop the charges without requiring Smollett to admit any wrongdoing, along with Jussie Smollett agreeing to forfeit his $10,000 bond. The police, the city of Chicago as well, thought, oh whoa, this is not justice. Oddly enough, the halls of injustice agreed with you. After a number of people removed themselves from the investigation because of conflicts of interest, and the new special prosecutor being assigned, many then jumped on that special prosecutor saying they too have a conflict of interest because they donated towards the mayor's run. Jussie Smollett, who has since been mocked by comedians, most notably including Dave Chappelle, who said that everyone was furious, especially in Hollywood. For some reason, African Americans were, oddly quiet. What they didn't understand is that we were supporting him with our silence, because we understood that this man was clearly lying. None of these details added up at all. So what has happened? In the last video we discussed on Jussie Smollett, the Halls of Injustice no less, Jussie Smollett was attempting to have the current charges against him dropped, and his argument for this was double jeopardy. Judge James Lynn said the only way that double jeopardy would apply is if Smollett was legally punished for what happened to him, since he was charged in connection with the 2019 January incident in downtown Chicago. But the deal in which the state attorney's office agreed to drop the charges without requiring Smollett to admit any wrongdoing, and Smollett agreeing to forfeit his $10,000 bond, did not add up to a legal punishment. Being quoted as saying, there was no trial in this case, there was no jury empaneled, no witnesses were sworn, no evidence was heard, no guilty pleas were ever entered. Nothing like that ever happened. There was no adjudication of this case. Do feel free to celebrate now, because that is the last of all the clips I want to show you in this video. Because now we get to the part of, where are they now? Wow! That sounded amazing, almost like a catchphrase. Do be as excited as I sound. So on October 16th, 2021, according to Yahoo Entertainment, Jussie Smollett was denied dismissal of his criminal case, which will then proceed to trial, with an attorney for Jussie Smollett claiming that the actor's rights were being violated, since he had already performed community service and given up a $10,000 bond under a previous deal with Cook County prosecutors to drop the charges. With Jussie Smollett's attorney saying a deal is a deal, that's ancient principle. This does mean that the trial will in fact go ahead, with a judge setting a date for it, jury selection no less, for November the 29th. Another rather interesting point that Jussie Smollett's attorney made was that the state should not be rewarded for duping people with promises not kept. An attorney with the special prosecutor's office, when this was being argued, said that the arguments presented by Jussie Smollett's attorneys could be summarily dismissed because they've already dealt with this before, and that nothing heard changes one iota of the case, which then means it can be comfortably denied, which is what the judge agreed on. The charges that Jussie Smollett face would include lying to the police, filing a false report, disorderly conduct. This trial will be open to the public and the press, but it will also be closed to media cameras. While some do believe Jussie Smollett could well be innocent, he himself being the more notable, pleading not guilty to all charges, the vast majority believe that this is justice being long denied, because he paid 2 actors to assist him, which makes it a conspiracy. He then proceeded to misdirect public resources in this fraud. He lied to law enforcement from various agencies, and certainly during the time of Donald Trump's reign as president, the discussion of race was incredibly sensitive. He weaponized it even further, which did not help anyone, and it was not helped by many mainstream media outlets that did not report on the fact that he lied. Their silence was deafening. For the sake of it, where is he now? He's in a courtroom, standing trial for lying. Will he be found guilty? I do believe he will be. And if that is the case, and he is then given a sentence, even if it is more severe than the sentence he originally had, i.e. the $130,000 fine, I will certainly make it a point to provide a suitable update in the halls of injustice and dump him in a cell. But of course, innocence until proven guilty. and we should all wait for the outcome that we all believe will be the correct one. For the sake of this series, I should inform you now, Britney Spears is next, but it won't be out until, I don't know, the 6th, because I've got other videos during this week. But don't worry, there'll be a video every day, maybe 2. Ta-ta. Just quickly before we finish, Future Meg here. Hi, how you doing? Hope you're well. Sorry about this. The trial has begun, and the defense has said that Jussie Smollett is a real victim, going so far as to suggest there was a third attacker involved, and that there is not a shred of physical and forensic evidence that links Jussie Smollett to the crime prosecutors allege. Just wanted to insert it, as it was a fresh bit of information before I rendered this video.